The alien girl couldn't defeat him, and she didn't want. Zara pressed her scaled palm against the cold metal wall of the space station and felt her heart's beating in an irregular rhythm that her people would consider shameful. For 3 cycles now, she had been hunting the human called Jake Martinez, and for 3 cycles he had evaded every trap she set with an ease that defied all logic and tactical training she had received from the Vrex military academy. Her violet eyes scanned the dimly lit corridor through the advanced targeting system built into her helmet. The heads-up display showed no movement, but she knew better than to trust technology when dealing with this particular human. He had already proven that their most sophisticated sensors could be fooled by his primitive yet effective countermeasures. The bounty on Jake Martinez was the highest ever placed on a single human by the Galactic Council. 50 million credits for his capture alive and 30 million for proof of his death. The crimes listed in his file made even seasoned Vrex warriors pause in consideration. He had single-handedly destroyed 3 military installations, sabotaged supply lines that fed half the outer colonies, and somehow managed to steal classified battle plans from the most secure facility in known space. What made it worse was that he accomplished all of this without any of the advanced technology that other species took for granted. No energy shields, no plasma weapons, no faster-than-light communication devices. Just basic human tools and a mind that seemed to work in ways that no Vrex strategist could predict or counter. Zara had been chosen for this mission because she was the best tracker in her unit. Her record showed successful captures of targets that had eluded other hunters for years. The Council believed that her combination of patience, cunning, and raw physical power would be enough to bring down one human male. They had been wrong. The first encounter happened on the mining station at Kepler 7. Zara had cornered him in what should have been a dead-end maintenance shaft. Her weapons were charged, her armor was functioning perfectly, and she had backup units positioned at every possible exit. Jake Martinez should have surrendered or died in that narrow metal tube. Instead, he had somehow turned the station's own systems against her. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, cutting off her backup, while venting gas flooded the area and forced her to retreat. By the time she regained control of the situation, he was gone, along with half the station's fuel, reserves, and detailed scans of every Vrex ship in the system. The second encounter was on the trade hub at Proxima Station. This time Zara had prepared for his technical abilities. She used only weapons and equipment that could not be hacked or turned against her. She tracked him through 3 levels of the commercial district and finally had him trapped in a cargo bay, with no computer systems he could exploit. Jake Martinez looked at her, across the empty space between towering stacks of shipping containers. He was smaller than she expected. Humans were generally tiny compared to Vrex, but even by human standards he seemed unremarkable. Average height, lean build with brown hair and dark eyes that held no fear, despite facing a warrior who could crush his skull with one hand. He smiled at her. Actually smiled as if meeting her was somehow pleasant, rather than the last thing he would ever experience. That smile made her hesitate for just a moment, long enough for him to activate some kind of explosive device that brought half the cargo containers crashing down between them. When the dust cleared, he had vanished again, and 3 more Vrex security officers were found unconscious in a supply closet with their equipment missing. The third encounter was different. Zara had finally accepted that this human could not be taken by conventional methods. She studied his previous escapes, looking for patterns in his behavior. She analyzed every piece of data the Council had on human psychology and physiology. She learned about their strange pack-bonding tendencies, their seemingly irrational willingness to sacrifice themselves for others, and their disturbing ability to adapt to situations that would break most other species. She found him on Titan Base, where he was apparently planning to steal an entire shipment of military-grade explosives. This time she did not announce her presence or try to corner him in an enclosed space. She simply watched and waited until he was alone and vulnerable. Jake Martinez was examining a shipping manifest when she stepped out of the shadows behind him. Her weapon was already trained on his back, and her finger rested lightly on the trigger. At this range, even a human could not possibly move fast enough to escape. He turned around, slowly keeping his hands visible, and that strange smile appeared on his face again. "Hello, Zara," he said, as if greeting an old friend rather than the bounty hunter who had been stalking him across half the galaxy. She felt a chill run through her body that had nothing to do with the temperature in the cargo hold. He knew her name. Not just her designation or rank, but her actual name, which was not included in any official records the council would have access to. How? She asked, keeping her weapon steady despite the sudden uncertainty gnawing at her thoughts. You have been following me for weeks, he replied, stepping closer despite the plasma rifle pointed at his chest. I made it my business to learn everything I could about you. Your service record, your family, your reasons for taking this assignment. His dark eyes seemed to look right through her armor and into thoughts she had never shared with anyone. Your people need the money from this bounty. Your home colony is struggling to meet tribute payments to the council, and without those credits your family will face relocation to a labor world. Zara felt her grip on the weapon tighten. How could he possibly know about her personal circumstances? That information was classified at levels even she did not have access to. You could shoot me now, he continued, taking another step forward. Collect your bounty and save your people. Or you could listen to what I have to say and maybe discover why the council wants me dead so badly. She should have pulled the trigger. Everything in her training screamed that she should fire immediately, before he could implement whatever plan was forming in that unpredictable human mind. Instead, she found herself asking the question that had been bothering her since she first read his file. Why do you do it? The sabotage, the theft, the attacks on council installations. What do you hope to accomplish against an empire that spans thousands of worlds? Jake Martinez stopped moving, but that smile never left his face. Because someone has to show them that they are not as powerful as they think they are. The council rules through fear and overwhelming force. They convince entire species that resistance is hopeless by demonstrating their ability to crush any opposition. He gestured around at the cargo hold filled with weapons and supplies. But every time I escape their traps, every time I turn their own technology against them, every time I steal from their most secure facilities, I prove that they can be beaten, not just by superior firepower or advanced technology, but by simple human stubbornness and refusal to accept defeat. Zara stared at him, trying to understand this concept. Freck's culture valued strength and hierarchy above all else. The idea of fighting against impossible odds simply to prove a point seemed not just foolish but actively harmful to one's own people. Your actions have caused deaths, she said. Council retribution for your attacks has fallen on innocent colonies. Jake Martinez nodded, and for the first time his expression grew serious. I know. Every death weighs on my conscience, and I will answer for them someday. But how many more will die if the council continues to believe they are untouchable? How many species will be enslaved or exterminated because no one dared to show that resistance was possible? He took one final step forward, and now he was close enough that she could see flecks of gold in his dark eyes. You could kill me, Zara, take the bounty and return home. But first ask yourself this question. When the council eventually decides that your people have outlived their usefulness, who will stand up for them? Who will prove that even the mighty galactic council can bleed? For a long moment they stood frozen in that tableau. The alien warrior with her weapon trained on the human rebel, who had somehow managed to challenge an empire that ruled countless star systems. Zara felt something shifting in her thoughts, something that her military conditioning had not prepared her to handle. This human had not defeated her through superior firepower or advanced technology. He had not even used the dirty tricks and improvised weapons that made him so dangerous to conventional forces. Instead, he had done something far more devastating to her sense of certainty and purpose. He had made her question everything she believed about strength and duty and the natural order of the galaxy. Slowly, very slowly, Zara lowered her weapon. She told herself it was just temporary, that she needed to hear more of what he had to say before deciding how to proceed. But deep in her heart, she already knew the truth. The alien girl could not defeat him because she no longer wanted to. Jake Martinez smiled again and extended his hand in that peculiar human gesture of friendship. Welcome to the Resistance, Zara. I think you are going to find it very interesting. As she reached out to take his offered hand, Zara wondered what her superiors would think when she failed to return with their prize. Then she realized that for the first time in her life she did not care what they thought. The human had won not through violence or trickery, but by offie.